Hello, everybody. How you doing? Hope you're having a wonderful time so far. Hello, and good evening. So today, basically, we're talking about the new coach, the new head coach of the Super Eagles that we've just had that made the report, so made the rounds yesterday. Just came out with the Blues. We had different names. We had Samson Siasia. We had um, the Swedish coach or former Swedish coach, Janne Anderson. Then out of the Blues yesterday, the name popped up, Bruno Labbadia, a German coach, and has played for several clubs, and as well has managed several German clubs. So for me, I think my initial reactions when I heard the name, because to be honest, I had not heard of him previously. So I was like, okay, who's this one? I hope he's actually had some coaching pedigree. And yes, indeed, he's had some coaching pedigree. At 58 year old, I think he's coached Hertha Berlin, he's coached Stuttgart, he's coached, I think, Wolfsburg as well. So lots of clubs he's coached. So for me, that's a plus. And as well, um, since he's coached a lot of clubs and he has more recent coaching history than a lot of other coaches that we get. For instance, we've got coaches that their last coaching stint was in the mid 90s, early 2000s, and we brought them in, and they've not really had that much impact. I know some people may come up to say um, he doesn't have experience coaching a national team. For me, that's a myth, in my honest opinion. I think the issue about a coach must have the experience coaching a national team. It's still the same football. It's still the same. You still have to pick your team. You still have to pick the formation that you want to use. You still have to be able to impact your philosophy. The only thing that may come in and be different or be sort of challenging for a coach coaching a national team that's different from a club is having that time to coach the players. Because for your club team, you're there day in, day out with the coach. You have like 3 days, 4 days, depending on what the coach wants. But every week you're there with the coach. Um, Unlike the national team or international coaching jobs where you see the coach it's once every international break, or was it like 3 or 4 months? And then, like for instance, the international break will be coming up very soon, in 7th of September, and after that, probably to be another one in maybe November and December, and then that ends till a couple of months later on, later in 2025. So that may be the only thing that's different, but otherwise, I think that issue of experience coaching a national side doesn't really carry any water in my opinion. And as well, he's 58 years old, so um, he's not a spring chicken. He's not someone with that experience. He's not one of those young coaches as well. He's someone that's at the prime age to coach a national side. And then again, I looked at his style of play. Saying he's more um, attuned to playing this 4-4-3, high pressing football, you know, play with two wingers, and then obviously a three-man midfield. So I think this is something that will suit the way Nigeria plays, or rather, it will suit the type of talent that Nigeria produces because that's one issue we had, and that's the issue we had with Jose Peseiro. Fair game, fair dues to him. He got the national team to the final of the AFCON, and unlike other people that just want to criticize him, you know, attack his character and just act like getting to the final of the AFCON is something that any and everyone can achieve. Because for me, I feel like that's something really tough for any coach to achieve, for anybody to get. It's not easy getting to the final of a continental tournament. England found that out. They couldn't get over the line as well. So it's not an easy thing at all. So, but I don't think he really embraced the talent pool that Nigeria has, and the Nigerian talent pool is deep. When I mean deep, it is really, really, really deep. We've got your Victor Siemens, your Victor Boniface, you've got your Durushimi, Rafi Durushimi, plays in Croatia. You've got your Tolu Akonodele that plays for um, KRC Genk as well. You've got, and of course, you have the ones that have not yet switched nationalities as well, like Noni Madueke that was on fire for Wolves is there and available. There's Tosin Madarabayo that said he will not, we had rumors that he might be switching his nationality, national allegiance to Nigeria. He's available as well. He'll be available as well if and when that happens. You have Justin Njima as well. That could be another person as well that could, be available as well. He's another winger, plays here forward as well. And then the midfield, we've got Uche Chris Santos, that played for Getafe. He scored on his debut as well. That's another talent we have to look at. For in the midfield, we have Raf Onyedika, another solid midfielder. We've got Frank Onyeka, an absolute tank in the midfield. We've got our fullbacks in Ola Aina, Bruno Yemachi. So we've got all these players. We've got the talent pool, and if you go to Europe, you go even in Nigeria as well, you would see that these players, you see that we produce players with pace, power, flair. So we shouldn't be playing ultra defensively. So for me, I feel if this manager decides that he wants to play a 4-3-3 and wants to play this high energy, high pressing football, I think it suits the way that we want to play. I think it suits the way that we should be playing because that's how teams set up. That's how teams set up nowadays. So I want to know what your reactions are with respect to his signing, and with respect to his signing, with respect to him becoming a national coach. Bruno Labbadia. I have a poll going on as well, so you can choose. What do you think? Is this a good, is this a good appointment? Or to please with the appointment. There's something that we Nigerians we get wrong sometimes. We all love our country. We all want the best for our country. We all want the best for, the national team. But sometimes we overestimate the kind of coaches we should get. You can't get the Pep Guardiola. He's not even master anytime soon. And maybe if he wants to coach the national side when he's done, maybe he'll coach Spain. I don't think he'll coach England. Maybe he'll go for the Spanish job. You couldn't get Klopp. I used to have fantasies of Klopp being the coach for the Nigerian national team. You might want to have that, but it does not happen either. You're not getting Klopp. So have that out of your mind. Who else you don't want to have? Who is it? Arne Slot? You're not getting him. You're not getting any of the top coaches. You'll be getting someone who has some experience coaching the national side. And what you're looking for is you're looking for a coach that is able to impact his intellect, impact his style of play immediately to the team. And I know some people will be going on, oh, home-based coach, we need a home-based coach. Now the home-based coach doesn't make any sense if you're just a home-based coach. A home-based coach makes no sense if you're just hiring him because he is a home-based coach. It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. His home base. Does home base win you games? Does home base have good tactics? Home base for me is nothing. Godfrey needs the judge to come in. Legend of the game completely, and legend of Nigerian Super Eagles as well. He came in, he couldn't quite deliver. I wanted him to deliver, but he wasn't able to deliver. His formation, his attacking, his football philosophy was poor, at least based on the evidence of what we could see, was poor. It was so poor. So why should we focus on home base? I know some people will talk about Samson Siasia because his ban has expired or rather elapsed, and now he's free to be involved in football again. I know that people will be going, oh, no. Well, give us Samson Siasia. Well, Samson Siasia is one of those coaches that I feel in Nigerian coaches, I would say, has real technical knowledge, real technical nuance. And he's shown it time and time again when he's coached various sides, the various age grade sides. But for me, I don't think he is the best option right now at the minute. Give him some time to, sort of sort himself out, settle down, and all that. Give him some time to do that, and that's fine. But not this job immediately. For me, Bruno Labbadia, I feel, is a good candidate. May not be the names that we all expected, may not be very, very, very high profile name, but he has over 2 decades of coaching experience, coaching various teams in the Bundesliga. And I have a confession to make. For me, I've always looked at coaches in the Bundesliga as coaches that would suit Nigeria, that would suit the Super Eagles. Why? Because the way they play in the Bundesliga suits the kind of players we produce natural, that we produce daily, that we produce naturally. High octane, high energy, wing play, pace, pacey football. That's the kind of football they play in the Bundesliga. And that's something that is more easily translatable because when you how to say this now, when you get players tied to something that is more naturally that suits their natural ability more, it's easier for you to get them to play good football. Because Nigeria, okay, let's look. Do we really have those silky midfielders on the ball like Mudrik? We produce every now and again one or two of those. So we don't have that depth, so we don't have that depth. But we produce pacey wingers, we produce prolific strikers, we produce strong defenders, we produce, versatile, pacey fullbacks. We can use this to our own advantage, and that's one I think, and for me, I think that's one plus of hiring a coach that has experience coaching in the German Bundesliga. And again, I feel as well that if you get a coach that also has experience coaching the German Bundesliga, would be able to convince certain players to switch their nationalities, like Justin Jima. Let's see how that happens. But for me, I still feel Bruno Labbadia, maybe not a household name, not known by everybody, but I think he's a really, really good coach. Now, tactically, let's go back to it. Say 4-3-3. You know, I think that would suit us to a T. Victor Osimhen play as a nine. You have um, Ademola Lookman to play on one of the flanks. You have Samuel Chukwueze playing as a winger as well. You have Frank Onyeka in the midfield. You have Rafael Onyedika in the midfield as well. Then maybe add Alex Iwobi to it or Uche Santos to that midfield. And goalkeeper could be Maduka Okoye, or you could even get Ato Okoronkwo from Wrexham. And then your defense speaks for itself. Ugo, Ugbu is someone that Nigeria needs to get. And I think having a coach like Bruno Labbadia may be, something an advantage to help us convince these people to join up. And this may seem like I'm talking about this guy too much. After this video, you can go, after watching this stream, you can go search for what's his name now? Igor Ogbu. That is Igohogbu. Look for that player. It's a very, very powerful defender, and I think that's someone that would also suit into Bruno Labbadia's system. And in the next stream that I'll be doing, I'll be showing the sort of tactics and players that I think can suit into the tactics, and we'll have those discussions as well, around that. Now, once again, I want to know your thoughts, our opinions are in the comment section in the chat there. Let me know what you think about this coach. So for me, once again, I'm saying I think it's the right appointment. It's a good appointment. He's got the coaching experience, to coach this team. He's got the experience coaching so many German teams, and 20 years of coaching experience is nothing to sneeze about. And what we have to consider as well is the salary, what the other sort of applicants or candidates must have been demanding. Who knows? Maybe what he demanded was right on point with what the NFF could afford to pay. Now, one thing that appointing a foreign manager could do as well for the Super Eagles, or appointing someone like Bruno Labbadia could do for the Super Eagles, would be he would demand instant respect by the national team, good or bad. He would demand instant respect. because one, he's done it as a player, two, he's coached, and three, he has no ties to anyone in the team. He has no ties to any of the players. Because sometimes when you get home-based coaches, not every time, but sometimes when you have home-based coaches, they have some sympathies. Maybe for people they've coached in their 20s, maybe for people that they're from where they're from in the country, maybe for people that play for the local side that they once played for, you know, and they have some sort of sympathies in that regard. But when you're having a neutral person coming in, it will just be focused on coaching. I think it's easier to have that sort of professional relationship as opposed to having some home-based coach sometimes. Sometimes for me, that's not the main factor for not having a home-based coach, I admit it. But sometimes that helps. Another thing about having home-based coaches is that we don't consider is the league. If we get the Nigerian league functioning properly, being very competitive, being like the hub for African players, probably before any African player goes to Europe, he first wants to play in the Nigerian Premier Football League. And that would then help develop, the coaches because they'll be coming up against very strong teams, coming up against very strong tactical abilities, and that would then help, strengthen them so they can easily come up and coach these players. Because let me tell you, some of these players, they're used to the best coaches, they're used to modern footballing tactics. So sometimes when they come in for national games and they are faced with home-based coaches, sometimes I'm not saying in all cases, but sometimes it may turn out that this this sort of coaching style doesn't match what I'm used to. Doesn't match what I'm used to. So for me, I feel like that's another thing that works against home-based coaches. So I want to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comment section. I've had the poll is currently going on. Click on the poll as well. Let me know. Do you think it's a good idea for Bruno Labbadia to be the coach or not so much? And then if you're saying it's not a good choice, who would you want? Who would you have suggested? Who would you have wanted to be the coach? Who would you have wanted to be the coach? Would you have preferred, I don't know, Philip Koku or who would you have wanted to be the coach? And then when you're talking about home-based coaches, we've sort of gone through everybody. Is it Lad and Boso again we're going to go for? Or is it Samson Siasia again? Or we're going to go back to Sunday Lise? We've sort of gone through all the sort of prime candidates. And this boils down to my previous point, which is the league needs to be brought up to a particular standard of competition. If the league is competitive, if not, let me put it this way: if the league is competitive, if you have a strong, vibrant league, then you have strong, vibrant coaches that can easily what I put in now affect the national team. That's something that has to come into play. If you want to have good coaches, like when I mean good coaches, I'm not talking about natural ability, but good coaches that can match up with coaches from, let's say you're playing against a Germany, you're playing up against a Brazil, or you're playing against a South Africa, for instance, or a Cameroon or a Ghana. You want to really match up with them and then even win them based on the talent we have. You need a coach that has a high tactical, acumen. And this high tactical acumen, it comes from facing tough competition. And I see some people were making fun of the sort of appointment of the coach to say, oh, his last job lasted for 9 months. Yeah, true. And I'll say this point again: you are not going to get a coach. You're not going to get a coach that has coached for, that's coaching at the top level, maybe coaching Man City, Man United, Real Madrid. You're not going to get those coaches. You're not going to get them. Okay, let's look at Ancelotti, coach of Real Madrid. Brazil were close to getting him to be the coach. By the end of the day, he opted out of being the coach. At the end of the day, he opted out from being the coach in favor of being the coach, continuing as coach of Real Madrid. And this is Brazil, one of the most prestigious national sides in the world. But he didn't go there. So it's very difficult for you to get those top level coaches. It's very difficult for you to get those ones you see, on TV as a coach for Real Madrid, as a coach for Barcelona, as a coach for Man City, for instance, Pep Guardiola. You're not getting Pep Guardiola. You're just not getting Pep Guardiola. That's not going to happen. Not going to happen. But one problem I have with this appointment, I must say, is the timing of the appointment. The qualifiers are just a couple of weeks away, and that's when you're appointing a new coach. I think what's his name now? George Finidi lost his job or was sacked around February or thereabout, February or March, and it's just now that you're getting a new coach. Now that's a problem. So, how much time are you giving this coach to go around scouting for players? But the good news is, or the good the good news is, you have you don't really have to scour the earth so deeply to find players. You already have players who are playing very well, like a Victor Siemens, like your Victor Bonifaces. They're there, they're already world stars, and this is a very beautiful time for you to be a coach of the Super Eagles. And I'm going to say this as well. Though I'm saying Bruno Labbadia is a good appointment, but he is also lucky as well, because I feel the amount and caliber of talent that we have in the Super Eagles for players eligible to play in the Super Eagles can compete with most national sides in the world. Have a look at Brazil. Call five of their forwards that are better than the forwards we have in Nigeria. Okay, there's Vinny Jr. Okay, who else? Richarlison is not better than Ademola Lookman. It's just not better than Ademola Lookman. Who is the striker? Who is their number 9? Really? Is it Hendrick? There's no way Hendrick is better than Victor Osimhen. In fact, that's unfair to even have both of them in the same sentence. Victor Osimhen is head and shoulders above any number 9 they have in the Brazil national team. Look at Argentina. Apart from Messi, who is the other player you have there that you can say is 100% better than what we have in the Super Eagles side? So Bruno Labbadia, he's lucky. He's very, 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 very lucky to have this job. But then I still feel like the appointment is a good appointment. And for me, we're not here to defend anybody. We're not here to, protect anybody. If you don't do well, you'll be called out. If his first game, his tactical application is poor, then he'll be gone. And I will be calling for him to be gone as well, because we don't have time to sort of mollycoddle anyone. Right now, it's a good appointment. The first game, let's see what we're going to do. I think we take on the Benin Republic, the second leg of the World Cup qualifiers. Let's see what his first team will be, his first selection will be for that qualifier. Let's see what it's going to be, So let me know, what other options do you think were going to take the place? Now let's switch up to another level. What do you expect from Bruno Labbadia? What do you expect? What do you expect in terms of his tactics, in terms of his call-up, in terms of the first game? What do you expect to see? You expect to see instantly we win it. Of course, we have to win it. But what do you expect? What would be, a positive result for you? What would make you get on board to say, okay, yeah, he's done well. Give him a good score. What would be a good score for you? What would be a good score? Is it immediately playing very well? Is it winning immediately? What are your benchmarks? What do you want him to achieve? Is it he must qualify for the World Cup, or is it to win the AFCON? What do you think? Is it to win the AFCON, qualify for World Cup, or you want to be like an Oliver Twist and want both? So what do you want from me? I feel both. Yeah. For me, the kind of group that we have at this minute, the Super Eagles are in at this minute, you just have to qualify for the World Cup. There's no excuses. The supposed strongest side in that group is South Africa, and South Africa are a side that Nigeria should mollywop every time, every and any time. This not being arrogant, this not being overly proud or anything, but just look at the players they have, compare them with the players that we have in the Super Eagles. That's not even a competition. That's not even a competition. Super Eagles should beat them every time. If you have the right coach with the right application, setting up players in the right way, in not having a striker play in midfield like we saw with George Finidi, and that's what people forget. The George Finidi game, uh, uh, um, the match where George Finidi was our coach, we saw a striker coming down to the midfield to look for to try to get the ball. There was no one bringing the ball up to him. There was no one bringing the ball up to him. We want to see players in their rightful positions. Basic. We want to see that. Victor Osimhen, striker, and two wingers, three midfielders in their rightful positions. In their rightful positions. So let me know what you think. So for me, I think once again I said it, it's a good appointment. It's a good one. My expectations have not dropped. And that's why for me, whether it was home base, foreign coach, black, white, Chinese, Mexican, whatever, the expectations are you qualify for this World Cup, which is the easiest World Cup to qualify for. This expanded World Cup, you qualify for it, and you go on to win the AFCON, win the African Cup of Nations, because we've got the players. And I can say this without any fear of contradiction. Well, you can say something different, but you know I'm right. The Super Eagles have the best squad on paper in Africa at this minute. No one even comes close. Not Egypt, not Ghana, not Cameroon, not Ivory Coast. None of them. None of them. None of them. So you have to qualify for the World Cup. And even the World Cup, I think it's time we get to the quarterfinals. It's time that the Super Eagles of Nigeria gets to the quarterfinals at the very least. At the very least. And then you also have to win the African Cup of Nations. Last time we got to the finals, I believe we can go a step further. And one thing I want to see from this new manager as well, this new head coach, is game management. Because that's something that cost us the African Cup of Nations. Let's go back a bit. That cost us the African Cup of Nations. Because Pesero managed the team poorly. The game the Super Eagles were leading 2-0. You still had players running and running with 10 minutes to go, with 5 minutes to go. You still had the Victor Osimhen and the rest running till they ran themselves into the ground. Everyone was so tired. And and then came time for the final. Come time for the final, you were all exhausted, you were all tired. Ola the other day said he was playing with an injury. Victor Osimhen, you could see, was clearly tired because he had run himself into the ground. He had run himself into the ground. Everyone was really tired that game. So I want to see better game management from this new manager. And I want to see him build a better relationship with the star players and the team. And that's one thing Joy Finidi got wrong as well. I'm not saying you bow down to any player, but you maintain a better relationship with your players. Because at the end of the day, no matter the style of play you want to implement on the pitch, it is the players that have to execute, the style of play. You have to execute your philosophy. You have to execute your tactics on the field of play. So those are my thoughts, my general thoughts for respect to Bruno Labbadia as our head coach. Want to know what your thoughts and opinions are. in another stream in the next episode of the Naija Football Show. I would also be putting up some graphics to show you what I think in terms of how he would play and what players we should call up as well. And as well, I will also be looking more closely at certain players that have indicated their interest in switching their nationalities or they are switching their nationalities to Nigeria and what that would mean, what that could mean for the Super Eagles going forward. So for now, if you watch the stream later on, let me also know what you think about this appointment. And at this point, we come to the end of the stream. I want to say fantastic rest of your day